Okay, so here is the carburetor off of the 77 Mustang 2. Like I said, these are basically the same carburetor. It's got electric choke. It also has the heated choke set up, which someone has blocked off. And this one is the one off the 68. Same Motorcraft carburetor where your kick down or passing gear hooks up right there. It's the same exact thing. So this carburetor's been rebuilt, so we're going to stick it on there, hook an electric fuel pump to it, because I don't trust what's in the gas tank, and I really don't want to mess up this freshly rebuilt carburetor. Now they do sell some knockoff brand Motorcraft looking carburetors on Amazon and eBay, and they're really cheap. So same as everything else, you can get the off-brand or you can get the original Motorcraft. I don't think you can buy original Motorcraft 2-barrel anymore. You might can find some new old stock or something, but I have seen some guys on YouTube go on Amazon, and if they were just playing around with something like we got, they'll just order a new off-brand 2-barrel. I'm pretty sure they got 4 barrels too, but we'll get that on there tomorrow when it's nice and light outside, and like I said, we'll see how good that thing runs. Okay folks, so it got late on me today. I had a lot of stuff to do, so I did get home in time to put the carburetor on it. We got the battery hooked up. I found some spark plug wires, so let's see, will this thing crank up? I disconnected the original fuel pump, even though the hose was dry rotted. I disconnected it anyway, so if there is gas in the fuel tank, it won't be spraying all over the carburetor. So let me go turn the switch on. Let the carburetor fill up. Oh, it's filled up good enough. I need something for that choke. That's too big. Let's see what she got. Put that in there. Let's see what she hit off. make sure it's in park. Appears to be in park. It only wants to turn over. It only wants to crank. Turn some of this gas off. Seems like it's only firing when it's turning over. It's not like it stopped firing when it's not turning. What it seems like is more I hold the starter, the solenoid, it's firing, and when I let off of it, it stopped firing. Let me try it again. Strange. It's only running when it's turning over. It's only firing. There's something he's got wired going to the coil. Something he's got wired wrong. We'll have to see what he got wired wrong here. Might have to run 12 volts straight to the coil from the distributor, because I don't know. Well, straight 12 volts to the coil from the battery, because it's cutting out. Let me go get a wire. Go to it. gonna do, I'm just gonna run 12 volts straight from the battery over to the coil, because something's not right. How wires ran everywhere. Sorry about that. Bump the camera on you guys. Let's try it now and see what happens. A little rat-a-tat-tat. Hope we ain't got a stuck valve. Sounds like we might have a stuck valve. Might have to pull the valve cover off. Well, it's popping back through the carburetor. Popping back pretty good. Sounds like it might have a stuck valve. I don't want to run it too much. Where it's ticking. Either that or it's got a bent push rod. Probably want to pull the valve cover off of it. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, she sounds clickety-clack. Something on this side over here is clicking, so I'm gonna pull this valve cover off and see if we can see what's in there. Something's either it's got a stuck valve or it's got a stuck lifter. So what I'm gonna do is let that starter cool off, pull this valve cover off and see if I can see anything that's loose, because something's really rattling over there. Well, pulled the valve cover off. I found out that number 2, I think that might be the intake push rod, is not even touching the rocker. So what that means is it's got a collapsed lifter. That's what that clacking sound was. The push rod just dancing around. Hopefully the lifter is not out of the hole. I don't think it is. I haven't pulled the push rod out yet, but that's the only one that's like that. So let me see if the push rod don't look bent. So I think it's just a collapsed lifter on this cylinder. That's what that clacking sound. Probably the push rod was just jumping up, hitting the rocker, and not opening the valve. That's why I was popping back through the carburetor. So to fix that, I have to pull the whole intake off and pull the intake off and replace the lifter. Probably while you're in there, just replace all of them or just replace the one. But it sounded alright, but I couldn't really run it, like I said, because of that clicking sound it had, because of the rocker not operating right. But all the rest of them look good on this side. I mean, typical dirt. Dirty oil. But I'm gonna try and shine a light down there and see if I can see that lifter, and hopefully it's still in the hole. It didn't jump out, just laying around in there. But if so, the push rod would have fell through and went into the oil pan. So it's probably still in there, just collapsed. Now, I didn't hear nothing on that side, but it would be worth probably to pull that valve cover off over there. Even though we got to pull the valve cover off anyway, and pull the intake, so we'll be able to see really. But I'm gonna try and look in that hole and see if I can see what's up with it. Well, I can see down in the hole, and the lifter has just came apart, so I'm gonna have to pull the intake off to replace that lifter. So that's going to be another day. It's late. We'll put everything up and we'll plan on getting that intake off. Well, that worked just like I planned it to work. So I wanted to get it off the trailer so that way I can get it inside and get the intake off of it, and try and fix that lifter that's messed up. But it rolled right off of there. I think one of the brakes is kind of stuck, but we got it off of there though. Easy, no damages to nothing. So now I can just shoot it right on in the garage. First I'm gonna go through it, make sure there's no rodents in it or wasps, bees, stuff like that, and then get it in there and we'll get the intake off of it. So this is the reason why I always check these cars before I put them inside, just to make sure there's no rodents or nothing still living in them. And I took the back seat out, and it was something living back here a while back. There's a lot of pecans and paper. I know he said he found a dead rodent under the hood, but he got all that out. But I'm not fortunate to have a shop like everybody else that stick their stuff in the shop and then you got stuff running around. So if you're doing this at your house, I suggest you go through and check anything before you put it inside. But in the trunk here, what we got is a bunch of stuff. Some hubcaps, original breather, says 390 on it. Transmission fluid, looks like a tag from Florida. Pineless. Never heard of that place. You got the fender skirts. We got some hubcaps, Pontiac, and that looks like the original one there. Let's see what we got in here. Let's just pull everything out. No, these are the original hubcaps. So what we got? These are the originals. Air chuck, some windshield wiper with the arm hook, another distributor cap. Looks brand new. A bumper jack. That's an old plastic bags, fuse box, door handles, and peel that up and look under there. A review mirror, spare, old flashlight, engine light, some drill bits. Look, old metal gas can. Is that worth something? What is this? Some trim. Oh, it's like some trim you can put down the side of the car. Single barrel carburetor. These bumper jacks are getting to be worth money. Somebody restoring an old car, and this one's got all the stuff to it, the hooks that you hook into the bumper. It's really supposed to hook, I think, up under here somewhere. Some of them had a little slot when you hook the bumper. It might be on the front. I guess it don't. But those bumper jacks are worth some money to somebody. We'll get the garbage can over here and toss some of this stuff. These review mirrors are kind of hard to find if they're in good shape. This one's rusted out. That came out of the car. Should have had some gloves on messing with this stuff. Carver milk crate, voltage regulator, old antique flashlights, spare, Got the fender skirts, paint can. Look like there's a radio back there. What kind of radio that is? Really just a bunch of junk, but those hubcaps are the original ones. I only see 2. So anyway, I'm gonna finish cleaning this thing out and we'll get it inside. Alright, so I got this thing in finally. I got all the stuff on the intake just about taken off. The carburetor, got the distributor cap off and the wires, got it top dead center. I took the fan off. This water pump is really froze. I don't know if I can put a pipe wrench on there and get it to turn. The bearings are probably all rusted up, so we'll be putting a new one on if this thing runs right. So I just got to take off that valve cover over there. I got to pull the distributor out because the intake, the distributor goes down through the intake and into the block. So that's why I got top dead center. I'll hook the vacuum booster for the brakes, and there's a hose right down there between the water pump it's probably going to be dry rotted. I got to get that hose loose because it's hooked to the intake and to the water pump, and should be able to get this intake off and replace the lifter and check the other lifters while we're in there. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the valve cover off, get everything off, and get this intake off of there, and hopefully we don't see anything wrong when we get that intake off.
Seven. 5. 5 and 4.
So I didn't know on these intakes, the push rods actually go down through the intake in some spots, like in the rear and here. You can see where the push rod goes through. The rest of it is open. So I'm going to have to take I'm gonna have to take the whole rocker arm assembly off to get this one push rod out on the ends. Really just pull all the push rods out, because on these 390s the intake is part of the heads, so it's kind of like, look like it's a V shape on each side. So I'm going to have to pull the rocker shafts off. Man, well, at least they're non-adjustable, so everything should just go back on like they should. So I'm going to get some tools and we'll get those rocker shafts off and pull all the push rods out. Look like they are 14s. I don't know the sequence. I guess you can start at the ends and then work your way to the middle, because you don't want to bend that shaft. I could Google it. Like I said, I've never messed with a 390. I've always messed with 302s, 351s, and 400s. But let's just see. Let's just see. We can find a rocker on torque sequence, I guess. Start. Not really seeing. You might just have to just so I ain't too familiar. Shafts. I don't know, I'm not seeing nothing, so, whoa! Well, that was the intake manifold. Rocker, shaft. I see torque sequence, but see a 124 foot-pounds. I don't know. I guess we can just go ahead and just start on the end, I guess, and break them loose. That's all we can do. Maybe Ford guys know more than me. We'll just start here. Just kind of slowly back them off evenly. Like I said, I'm not sure. Can't knock it till you try. Be cool if you just loosen it just to get those push rods out that that's going through the intake. Good thing is, you don't have to worry about adjusting them. Might as well change the oil while we're at it. Let's see, can we easily... There's that rocker shaft. Completely out. We'll set this down. Now when you're pulling push rods, you kind of want to make sure you put them back where you got them from, unless you're changing them out, putting new ones. So something just fell out. Probably was a lifter. It's like stuck to it. Try and take these out, set them down like I took them out. Now oil goes through these rocker shafts. I can feel the lifters kind of sticking to them, push rods. That side's loose. You gotta worry about the retainer there, the splash guard. I guess that's what that is. So, oops. Side's loose. So we can move on to this side over here. Kind of like them loose with the torque wrench first. I guess it don't matter. Same way on this side. I guess what we need to do is twist it. Actually, there's a couple of rockers, push rods, one there too, that goes through the intake. So all the push rods are out. The rocker shafts are out. So I guess the next thing to do is to pull this 3,000 pound intake off. Hopefully I can get it off easily. Make sure nothing else bolted down. Let me get a breaker bar. Big one here, and trying to find that is tight. I bet you this intake's never been off. It's got that rubber hose that goes between the water pump. That's going to be a challenge. So I'm probably going to have to get in there, pick up on the back, and scoot it back. This intake is going to be heavy. Cast iron. Washers and stuff. There's doggone pecans everywhere. And squirrels in the road. Don't want them to fall off in the engine. Let's see if I can. Yeah, that hose. Alright, we passed the hose. Oh my god, this intake is heavy. I almost need the engine lift to get it out. Woo! That's a heavy intake. Need a set of hands. Let's see if I can get over in here somewhere. At least set it up on the radiator shroud. Support. Man, this thing is heavy. Can't grab there. Oh my god. Why? I see why the car is so heavy. Because the intake weighs a ton. That little water port is about rusted out. That ain't good. Oh yeah, a lot of lifters came out. They're just sitting there. Alright. So can I grab it somewhere? Man, this thing is heavy. I'm trying to get my body in position. Oh shit! Man, that intake is heavy. Woo! Oh God! Oh man! Why did Ford design an intake that heavy? You just don't know how heavy. You don't know how heavy that intake was. Man, it's like lifting up a person out of there. We're probably gonna use the engine lift to put it back on. There's no way I can set it back on there by myself. No way. But here it is. That is one heavy dude. I've never ground an intake that heavy before. Whew. I bet you the whole car is about 300 pounds lighter without that intake on there. I mean, it didn't even raise up at the front. So, intake's off. Here's the valley pan. It's up under the head gaskets. Let me get something to pry that up. That is freaking heavy. A 351 head, intake is not even that heavy. Okay. Here's our lifter. Ooh. The whole bottom of it's broke out. Look at that. I hope it didn't mess up the cam. There's a little plunger. That one. Popped out of the hole. Oh man, I hope it didn't mess up the cam. See the rest of it. That's the piston part. Where did the rest of it go? The bottom of it was completely broken off. Let's get a light. I hope the cam ain't messed up. The valve is not stuck. Where did the rest of it go? It must have went down in the oil pan. We could rotate it just to see if the cam has got any bad spots on it. I don't know where the rest of it had to fall down. It had to fall down in the oil pan. Is that a magnet over there? What is that over there? Something over there. Maybe that's the bottom of it. Oh, that's the head. The block. There's some pieces right here. Oh, that was oil. So I guess it fell down in the oil pan. I'm gonna rotate it around and make sure that the cam ain't got any bad spots. If it's in the oil pan, it's just in the oil pan. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that but pull the oil pan off, and I'm not going that far. I see why they had silicone on this hose right here, because that spout on the front of the intake is about rotted off. It's probably clogged up. So I'm gonna rotate it around and make sure the cam don't have any bad spots, and we'll just throw another lifter in it. All the rest of them are together, so we'll just throw another lifter in it and put it back together. New intake gaskets, and go from there. The push rod wasn't bent, so we can reuse the push rod. And it seems like it was oiling. We need to change the oil though. Vacuum out some of those turds that's on top of there, and double check, make sure that valve is not sticking, which I don't think it is, because I took a hammer last night and tapped it. But anyway, I'm gonna check out the cam and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna turn this thing over and look at the camshaft, see if I see any major damage. Oh, it's got the plugs in it. Is the cam even turning? Slowly. Oh, snap, I can't, because I got it top dead center. Oh man, I forgot about that. Well, I forgot about it not being top. I'm gonna take it out of top dead center if I do that. Let me see if I can see number 1 on the balancer. Oh, the balancer somewhere. Oh, I think I do see it. Yeah, if I rotate it around, I'm gonna get it out of time. Well, I think I'm just gonna wing it. I can't really tell if that camshaft messed up or not. I had to clean the balancer off to get it back top dead center. I forgot about that. So we're just gonna wing it. I'll clean the balancer off and see if I can get to see what number, what top dead center is. If I can, I'll rotate it around and bring it back around. But I totally forgot that I'm gonna get it out of time, and I got the distributor and everything where I need it. Yeah, I see the zero. The balancer's so rusty. Yep. That means I have to go back. So anyway, we'll just leave it alone. I gotta get a lifter anyway, and we'll do some more on it. I'm gonna clean that balancer off. So I did get it to turn over, and the cam has got a, I don't know if you can see it, it's got a bad spot. Let's see if I can get close. It's kind of chewy right at the lobe on the side. It's kind of hard to focus in on it. probably see it to the left. The very side of the cam lobe is worn pretty bad. Try and get in there on it. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see if we can get a light down. Can you see it now? The very end of that lobe is chewed up to the left. So that's because that lifter might have locked up, and when the push rod went up against the valve, wherever I did with the lifter, it blew the bottom out of it, and it either the other piece got lodged between the cam, or this was just sitting there rubbing the cam. I don't know. It's still got some of the lobe left, so we might be able to just stick a lifter in it just to see how it runs, and then when we get it out of there, we can stick a cam in it. That might be an option. So I'm going to sleep on it. I got some parts ordered for it anyway, and I'll do some checking around, and we might just be able to just stick a new lifter in it just to run it, just to see if it smokes, or see how smooth it runs. And then if it don't run smooth, then we know the cam is a problem or something else wrong with the engine, like knocking or something. But I didn't run it long because I didn't want to mess anything up. So anyway, we'll see what happens. All right. So we got the new lifter. This is the old one. We got the new lifter in the block. I decided to go ahead and run it with the cam, with the lobe. Got that little chunks missing out of it. Still got some of the lobe left, so we're gonna run it anyway. Got the block all cleaned up and heads. Now I just gotta clean the intake up. This water pipe here is half rusted away. That's why they had silicone on that hose, because they were trying to keep it, oh my God, keep it from leaking. So what I'm thinking about doing is just drilling that out, cut it off, drill it out, and stick like a pipe. Oh man, that's a heavy intake. I got this here pipe nipple. I think I can thread it, screw it in there as far as I can get it, and then when we put the intake on, it'll just slip into that hose. So I gotta get the gasket, old gaskets off the intake first, clean it up, then I'm gonna handle that. I got the gasket set in for the intake. We got oil filter. This is gasket set. It fits 5.4, 5.8, 6.4, which is the 390, 6.6, 6.7, 7.0. So I think this is for what, the 4. I can't remember. 352? No. I know it goes all the way up to the 429, I believe. So that's the gasket, Velcro, oil filter. So I'm gonna get started cleaning this intake up, and I gotta get the valet pan back in there too, and get that pipe fixed, get this thing back together. Hopefully it cranks up and run way better than it did last time, and if it runs good, we'll worry about the camshaft issue later. I mean, I basically got this motor and transmission for the 68 Torino, so I'm gonna pull it out of here anyway. We might drop another cam in there, I don't know. But first I want to make sure that the bottom end's good and stuff like that. So Anyway, I'm gonna get to work cleaning all this junk up and get this thing back together. Alright, so I was able to cut that little pipe off, and I took the thermostat out, and I was able to knock this on through the block. It's just a piece of copper pipe that came out of the intake that went to that hose that goes over to the water pump. So I got some options here. I found this thing here. It's kind of flared at the end. I can cut it off as close as I can to this elbow and tap it off in there, because basically this was just tapped off in there. And I think that if I have to, I can add a little longer hose. It's a little bit too small than the hose that's on the water pump. I did stick it in here and I tightened it down. It tightened up. I can either use that, or I can go with my original plan and find a pipe tap, because this is almost the same. It's just a little bit small, that hole is. I can thread that out and just screw this in there, and then I can have one that can be removed if it rotted away, but I have to clean this out. It's full of crap. I might find a new one somewhere, but they're my options. I think if I cut this out, cut it right before the elbow, I think it's the same diameter to go in that hole. I was looking for like a bushing or something to stick in there. I couldn't find none of that same diameter. So whatever I go with, y'all be the first to see. So I was able to get that rusted out pipe out, and I thought this was a 1/2 inch pipe. It's actually a 3/8. This is a 3/8 pipe nip, and I tapped it out, but I got to get a 3/8 pipe tap and drill this out to 3764. So I went to Lowe's, Home Depot, I went to Ace. Well, Ace Hardware showed that they had the drill bit and the tap in stock. Ordered it online, went to the curbside, dude comes out, oh, I've been looking for it everywhere. We actually don't have it in stock. I'm gonna have to give your money back. So that was like a 25-minute drive. Harbor Freight's got the tap set that comes with all the pipe taps, including the 3/8, but it's like 60 bucks almost. So I got on the old trusty Amazon, and I was able to find the 3764 drill bit and 3/8 pipe tap for like 10 bucks, and it'll be here tomorrow. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the intake on anyway. I got it all cleaned up. I can actually still get the tap in there. If it runs good, I'm gonna pull the water pump off anyway, so I can still get in there and thread that out for this 3/8 pipe nipple. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm actually gonna use the engine lift or cherry picker to pick this intake up and set it back on the motor, because me by myself, that thing is super heavy. And a good friend of mine said he uses on his 390 his engine cherry picker or engine lift to take his intake on and off, because that is straight up cast iron. So I'm gonna probably chain a chain right to this spot, and I could get something here. I don't want to wrap around this pipe though and break it off, and that's something else I got fixed. I'll get a chain on it somehow. If I had one of those carburetor plate things, I can bolt it down and hook the chain right to the middle, but I'll get it hooked up somehow. But that's how we'll put it back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some sealant around water ports. You don't have to put sealant around the intake. I didn't even see this tissue. You don't have to put sealant around the intake and exhaust ports, at least around your water ports. Keeps that nice and sealed up with the gasket. And get the intake on it, put the lifters and rocker set back on, put the carburetor on, hook up some fuel. Oh, I gotta put the distributor in too. Then we can hook up some fuel and maybe hear this thing crank today, and we'll worry about that water pipe situation to the water pump. We'll worry about that later. It's gonna be a lot of worry about later. So the only thing I want to do is just hear this thing run and make sure it's gonna do all right before we pull it out. All right, it's time to put the intake on. Hopefully I can get the temperature. Oh, spoke too soon. Got to air the tires up. I put it on flat so I can reach over in there. Now, cherry picker won't go up under the car. Don't figure that. Intake wasn't so heavy. It'd be real easy to get it back on there. It's just too heavy. Good enough. See what it's sliding right now. I feel like I'm putting an engine in. Hope that hose don't hit my tripod. Yeah. Man, that frame. Where's the frame at on this thing? Frames. Hanging down real low. You have to jack the car up to get it the rest of the way out over there. I got to figure out as far as it can go. figure that, huh? Don't you just love it? Starting with the jack in the process. Man, it's still hitting the doggone free. Dang, silicone be dried up by the time I get it. I think that's far here as I'm gonna be able to go. There we go. Needs to go in a tad bit more, but the jack is in the way. As far as I can go. I'm gonna have to just live with that. Motor is built like a tank. Oh, hitting something over there. Sit right there. Shoot. This is This is the worst intake job I've ever done on a car. Stupid vacuum line. It's pushing my gasket. Make sure that gasket didn't slide. It's got those gaskets on each end of the block at the front and the back, and they'll slide out on you. Then you have oil in it. You got to make sure that they don't slide. They call it a China wall gaskets. It looks like like it stayed in place. You don't want to move the intake around either, because those gaskets, you got sealant on them that slide. When you move the intake, you want to set it down evenly. So I'm going to take a couple bolts, kind of start it so that way it'll just sit right on down on there, and the gaskets won't move. Those two bolts should do it. Alright, I'm gonna let it all down. And you can move it a little bit, but if you don't have to slide your intake around, like lift it back up or something. So I think the gasket pushed out a little bit on one side. I knew it was going to do that. It's got the little notches where the intake gasket is supposed to hold it so it don't move, but once you get a lot of sealant and stuff on there, they'll move around. Front looks good. Then you have to pull the intake all the way back off, redo those gaskets in the back. On this car here, being that the intake is so heavy, I don't want to have to pull it off a bunch of times. Not unless I have to, but I don't want to have to pull it out because of the gasket. Now if it's because of the lifter or something like that, but because of the gasket, I don't want to. Alright, let me get the kicker away from up under here. Just let it back down. Now I gotta get the torque specs. Torque specs and the sequence, and we'll be ready to put the lifters and the rock on assembly. Start. Looks like that gasket still easing out there a little bit. The weight of the intake is pushing it out. Best thing to do is before you fire it up, let it sit. Let the glue or the silicone dry up a little bit. You want a real good seal. Looks like bullets. Under there. Make sure you put enough silicone at each corner of the gasket. They call them China wall gaskets. The oil will leak past that too. Look, I'll snug these. I couldn't fix that water pipe. I really wanted to, but I can do it. I just have to take the water. I gotta pull the water pump off anyway, so I can thread it. Over here it's stubborn. So this is what I mean by having to move the intake. So you can get the screws lined up. Here, I don't want to line up. Yes, it didn't move. Bolts are kind of on an angle, so you don't want to line up all the way. And what I would do, I would just go around and snug it, let it sit for a minute, because if you snug it, if you torque it down too fast, and you got silicone on them gaskets, like I said, they'll ooze back out. Go around in sequence and snug it, let it sit, then go around, snug it, and then after that, you can torque it. I say. I don't know what you guys do, but because that silicone also squish out. I was using gray and I ran out and I used black. It's been one of them days today. But intake is on. One more bolt. Which I don't know what I did with it. One intake bolt missing. the missing? Here it is. Oh, the ground cable hooks to the intake on this side. So it had to be right there. That's what it was. Great, now I gotta pull this bolt back out. Dropping stuff everywhere. This car, you can't keep nothing on it. Falls right off. Just think back in the old days, before the ratchets came around, they were using just basic wrenches, screwdrivers. Probably take you all day to get an intake off. Now we got ratchets, we got battery operated ratchets, we got battery operated impacts. Back in the day, just using basic hand tools to tear down the engine. Man, that would suck. I can't imagine doing it with just basic hand tools. I bet you a lot of people back then had what they call it, carpal syndrome, whatever that is with your hand. Your hand be like this every day. Anyway, I am going to let it sit, get the torque specs, and I'm gonna go ahead, slide the push rods in, and get the rockers on, and then I'm gonna go back, torque it down, let the silicone sit for a minute, and we'll get the valve covers on it, drop the distributor in, and I gotta put the carburetor back on, hook up a couple vacuum lines, and should be good to go. So we will get busy on that. everything is torqued to spec. The rocker arm shafts are 40 to 45 foot-pounds. The intake is also 40 to 45 foot-pounds. I torqued it all at 40. So now I'm going to put the distributor in and make sure it's still top dead center, which it should be. I called myself getting it back up there. I gotta get the valve covers on, put all the spark plugs back in, carburetor, and a couple vacuum lines, get a battery back in it, get the fuel system hooked back up, and we should be ready to fire this thing up. So I am going to jump off camera and get everything set up, and I'll bring y'all back when we get ready to fire it up. Okay, so we got everything hooked up. Got the carburetor on there, distributor in. It should be wired right. It should be on top dead center. Fire in order right. We got the fuel pump hooked up. Changed the oil. I added a little antique oil pressure sensor. Gauge. I'll get y'all a close up on that. Batteries in it. Let's see what's on it. Spark plugs back in. So let's see what she's gonna do now. I got the rear end of the car jacked up because I don't want this thing to jump in gear and take off and run me over. I don't know nothing about it. Let me get something to hold the choke open. Got 12 volts coming straight from the battery to the coil because something was up with the ignition. So I'm gonna wire this in so anything go wrong I can snatch it off. Oh. Gone. Got the, oh, okay, I got this one on the spot. I had the ground wire for the fuel pump on the positive. That wasn't gonna work. This one. I think last time I had to ground it to this bolt right here. Let me fix that. It's been a long day messing with this thing, and tired, hungry. So hopefully we'll get some better results. Last time. Now I can't run it too terribly long because I don't have a cooling system hooked up. So let's see what we got. Wondering if it's out of time the way it spit back. I could have swore I had the distributor in right. If it backfires, I know for sure. Sounds like, I wonder is the timing right. It's not firing, kind of spit, but it's, look at this plug one. Kind of spit back through the carburetor like the timing might be right. I swore I got the distributor back in there. Got the fuel pump on through. Oh, it would work. It would get that good. Got fire. Why ain't we hitting it? That gas spraying out of the carburetor, that's for sure. Yeah, see how it just poofed out of there? I think I got the distributor 180 out. That's a good indication right there. When it popped back like that, that means the distributor's out of time. I figured that was going to happen because I kept bumping it over, checking the cam load. And I got it out of time. So I need to run it around. Somehow I knew I was going to do that. Ah, some hard keys down there. Now it plugs it. Definitely. Look past it. So we really need to okay, that's where I got it set now. So I need to rotate it around 180. Bring the piston back up, pick the distributor up, drop it back down a little bit. pop like that. They pop like that, and you you want to put the plugs in that tight. Plug is wet too. So we need to go 180 around. So I'm gonna go back around. This thing got some compression too. That's top dead. The rotor bug is pointing towards the front. So I need to pick that distributor up. Rotate it. I had a feeling this should be the problem. But I had a feeling I had it out of time because I was messing with it, and I went in for the night, and I said, well, the only thing I got to do is take the crankshaft, rotate it counterclockwise. Short pause right quick. So anyway, pick this thing up. Rotate it. So right here. Close enough. As long as I got room to, should be it right there. Get that bolt back in there. Good job. If it backfires this time, something else is wrong. Well, it didn't backfire, but it spit back through the car. But I got a sneaky suspicion that I got it out of town. Say that's close enough. I put a new O-ring on the distributor. It's not tightened down like it's supposed to. Alright, let's put the plug back in. I hate it when they backfire, man. That just really catch you off guard. All right, let's try it again. something's not right. It acts like it wants to start, but it won't go ahead and kick off. I didn't even see, well, this is saying we got 60 pounds of oil pressure. Well, I reckon we got oil pressure. It ain't went down, it's probably got air in it. But the thing is, you don't want to fire it up. Timing sounds right. I mean, I know I ain't off. I need to make sure the fire order is right. 1, 2, which it would be popping if it wasn't. 2, 4. This is 3. 7. This is 6. 6. Yep. This would be 7. Yeah. Fire order's right. I just don't know why it's not starting up. I don't have anything to spray in it. Really, it's got gas in the carburetor. It shouldn't have to spray nothing in it. I'm starting to it. Make sure we don't have any vacuum leaks. I wonder, could the vacuum advance? Let's unhook it. I don't think that's it, but act like it wants to go. Tell you what, I'm gonna hook this electric choke. That could be cutting some of our fire off. We'll try it again. For some reason, well, the solenoid got hot and stuff. For some reason, she's not cranking. You reckon that it still can be 180 out? I don't think it would be. Because if I go back around again, it's not popping or backfiring like the time is out. So I don't understand why it's not cranking all the way up. I know that solenoid got hot. Yeah, it's real hot. It was sticking the starter. Well, we'll let the starter cool off, let the solenoid cool off, and we'll get back at it once everything cools down. I don't want to burn the starter up. That did not sound good there. Something started rattling real bad. Maybe one of the lifters is not primed up. Man, this thing's smoking bad. Woo-wee. I'm gonna have the fire department over here. Yo!
Y'all good?
Yeah.
I was just making sure I just saw a lot of smoke. I didn't know what happened.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
We'll let it cool off. Well, the smoke has cleared, but it really started rattling again. I don't know if the lifter is not primed up or it broke another lifter or what, but I shut it down. I'm not gonna run it anymore. It's starting to get hot, but tomorrow I'll pop the valve cover off. I don't know if it's this side or the other side, but I'll pop the valve cover off and take a look in there and see what happened, because I kind of goosed it a little bit and it just started ticking, clacking really loud. So let's just let it cool off, let it sit. We'll inspect it tomorrow. Alright, back with the LTD once again. So after getting it running and the engine started tapping again. I don't know if one of the lifters is just weak about priming up or it just got too hot. I didn't run it that long, I didn't think, without coolant, but it started ticking, so I shut it down. So I really want to run it some more. So what I ended up doing is getting the new water pump. That's the new one, that's the old one. That's a pretty big size water pump. This is actually the original water pump. It's got the original Ford numbers on it. So that looks original to me, unless it was changed a long time ago at the dealership. But this is the replacement. See, we got it off of there. We had good oil pressure. I had the little antique oil pressure gauge on there, but it wasn't working right, so we put one of those on there. Finally got 1364 drill bit, and we got the pipe tap so we can 3/8 pipe tap so we can put this in the intake. I wish I could have got it in there before I put the intake on, but you know, I just got to drill it out and tap it. Then that's going to, I'm probably gonna have to cut it off a little bit, because it has this pipe here, that hose that goes between the manifold and the water pump. There's the hose right there. So that should slide right in there. I'll probably cut it off a little bit, and this will just screw right in there. This will last longer than that little copper pipe that they had in the hole originally. I already tapped it out, but it was the wrong size. I thought it was 1/2 inch, but it's 3/8. So anyway, got this from Amazon, got the drill bit tap. I'm gonna get that fixed, clean up the block where the gaskets go for the water pump, get the water pump on there, the belts, hook everything up. We'll run it again, and hopefully that lifter will go ahead and prime up. I did pull the valve covers back off and recheck, made sure we didn't have any more broken lifters. Everything was still together, but I don't want to run it no more until we get some coolant in it. Now they had water in it, so it wasn't that much rusty water. That's what rusted up the water pump, running water in it. So hopefully there's nothing wrong with the block. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the intake fixed, water pump, get everything on it, and bring y'all guys back in. We'll fire it up again. Alright, so we got everything hooked up, water pump, all that stuff. I put a little coolant and a little water in it. Let's fire it up and run it. I'm gonna check the charging system too. Water pump wasn't good. got that clacking sound. But I think that's just a lifter that's not climbing up. That oil pressure. Oh shoot. I knocked our ignition off. Uh-oh. I get it. I gotta find out why the charging system's not working. Either got a bad plug or that ticking sound is the lifter. This gauge ain't got up there yet. Don't sound too bad. It's got that rattling sound. We're not charging, so I think the key ignition is not on. You have to find the key and stick it in there. but it's got that pop through the carburetor too. I mean, unless there's a plug wire going bad. I've never had one pop like that. Unless it's got a plug wire or valve. But I checked the comments and taking the wires. It seems to be good. So I'm gonna check the fitness and see if I can get the charging system to come on, and then we'll go from there. Well, I was running this thing and it did the same thing again with the lifter. It dropped the lifter, broke a lifter, whatever. Here's the push rod, and I even got a key switch for it. Got the charging system all working, and it's the same thing again. I can see clean through, well, you probably can't. I can see clean through the lifter down in there. So either this thing has got a timing chain that's super loose and it's kicking the cam timing out. That means that the cam is going around and throwing it out of time, and that lifter is hitting at the wrong time, and it's contacting with the valve and putting too much pressure on the lifter, or the cam is actually walking, like it might have bad cam bearings. The cam is walking and the lifter is misaligning with the cam. I mean, it can be a number of things, but after it did this lifter, I don't know if it broke the lifter or just the lifter just came apart. But the only way to tell that really is to take the intake back off, pull that lifter, what's left of the lifter out. Now if the lifter's, well, the whole bottom of the lifter look like it's gone, unless the whole lifter has popped out. It looked like it's still in there, like the outer edge of it, but unless the lifter has just popped out of the hole and is laying down in the intake valley or the oil valley. I don't know. I do know I had to turn the distributor a whole lot to get it to crank up. So the timing chain could just be super loose and it's jumping time or something. But either way, the intake's gonna have to come back off, and hopefully it didn't damage the cam more than what it was. It did have a little damage to it, but it was starting to run pretty good. It still was kind of popping back through the carburetor, and then it just started to chattering loud, and I shut it down, and I found the push rod just sitting in the hole. So anyway, it's just gonna take a little time for me to mess with this one, guys. I really got this engine to put in the 68 Fairlane. I was hoping just put a carburetor on it, fire it up, and it was gonna be good to go, but now then ran into valve train issues. It's getting good oil pressure. We put a new water pump on it. It's not overheating. It's still smoking a little bit, but engine's gonna have to be gone into again and really checked out. So I am just going to let it sit for right now. I got some other stuff I'm working on, and what I'm going to do is just slowly take stuff off. I might just go ahead and pull the engine down one more time and inspect everything. I thought about just go ahead and just pull the engine and transmission out of it and put the engine up on the engine stand and go through it. I kind of want to put a 390 back in the car. I think it came with a 390, I want to say. I really want to put this 390 in there because we got all the accessories that we need, but I don't know. So anyway, I'm gonna clean up. I'll make my decision, and we will deal with it later. For right now, I'm signing off. So like, share, subscribe. leave those comments, and we'll see what we can do with this old 390 LTD. Either we're gonna pull the motor out of it, get rid of the car, or we're gonna try and fix the engine while it's in the car, get it running, and then get rid of the car. Either way, the car is gonna leave, motor with a motor or without a motor. So, all right, I'll holler at y'all later, and peace. Well, I wanted to bring you guys in on the aftermath. I went ahead and tore this thing down, and it's going to need a cam. These lifters are just thrashed. This was number 8 cylinder, completely wiped. That is, I believe, the intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. Some of them are kind of beat on, and some of them are just really thrashed. So it's going to have a rebuild, at least a cam and a lifter kit. Same on this side, it broke that number 2 lifter again. Those don't look too bad. Those don't look too bad. That one's dished out. You can see it. And those are pretty smooth. So what I would say is somebody was running the wrong type of oil for a long period of time. That's why you're supposed to run zinc additive oil, either zinc additive or oil with zinc in it, because these flat tappet cams, it's a metal to metal friction, and you need that zinc to keep that friction down from wearing. So if you're running a flat tappet cam in any old car, be sure you run some kind of zinc additive or some VR1 Valvoline oil with the zinc in it, because this is what happened. I mean, I'm not sure why it kept breaking this lifter. Maybe I don't, maybe the cam lobe was just worn really bad. But I ended up pulling the valve spring off and checking that valve, and made sure it wasn't sticking, and that wasn't a problem. So I said, well, I got it down, I'm just gonna pull all the lifters out, and this is what I came up with. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this engine out, and I guess tear it down, pull the cam out, pull the oil pan off. Surely all that metal and pieces of lifter is down in the oil pan. Just pull it down, check it out, clean it up, and get a cam and lifter kit for it, and gasket set, and we'll check the valves, flip it over, make sure the valves seating all the way, put new valve seals, and put this mud back together. I mean, it's the only thing we can do with it. So I'm not gonna do anything more to it. I'm just gonna go ahead and yank it and transmission out, and take a lot of stuff off the car that I might need, and the rest of this car just gonna, I might put it on Marketplace just to see if somebody might need it for parts, because it's still got a lot of good parts on it. I mean, the bumpers are rusty, but it's got that vacuum style headlight grill with a headlight covers flip up. I mean, it's got a good windshield, it's got a good back glass, side glass. So I might just go ahead and just pull the motor and transmission out, put the body on there for parts, and if nobody don't bite on it, we'll just send it on to the scrap yard. So anyway, like I said before, that's it on this one. I'm gonna concentrate on getting the engine out, getting it tore down, get it cleaned up, and I'll show you what I find out once I get it tore down. All right, y'all. Like I said before, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button, and leave some comments, notifications on, and we'll move on to something else.